Welcome back to another edition of Strengthening Oklahoma. And this edition of Strengthening Oklahoma is brought to you by The Garage. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from The Garage in your neighborhood. 28-13 Sooners win in Bedlam, 6th win of the season, become bowl eligible for the 23rd straight time, and they take that state championship trophy back to Norman, where it belongs. A man that was on the scene, catching passes. Mr. Marvin Mims joins the show. How are we doing today, Marvin?
Doing good, especially coming off of a win. It feels great.
Feels good to win Bedlam, doesn't it? Man, it was Gabe was on the radio call. I was on the TV call. You were on the field. I got to say that was one of the weirdest Bedlams, if not weirdest games I've ever seen. You guys came out on fire, and then the offense went a little bit cold from there. But from your perspective, how do you describe what transpired in Bedlam on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, we started off hot. The defense got some picks, put us in great field position. I mean, we're scoring at will. I mean, at that point, I feel like there was nothing they could do to stop us. And then after that first quarter, things kind of cooled down. We were making as many plays, penalties, personal. Just like not executing on plays and stuff like that. We didn't put up any more points after the first quarter, so that's kind of crazy. It was like a complete turnaround. Go out there starting hot, 28 points in the first quarter, and not scoring anymore the rest of the game.
How much fun was that first quarter, though?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was unbelievable. I've never been a part of anything like it. It was great to be a part of, great to watch, great to see. It's just a fun feeling all around.
You guys put up the 28 points impressive. You guys put up 299 yards in one quarter. We had a stat, my stats guy showed me, in all of college football this season, that was tied for the biggest first quarter lead in the entire season. And it was only the fourth time this year that the team had been up 28-0. You guys show what you're capable of. Clearly, it was attacking. It was aggressive. It was wanting to get some chunk plays in the throw game. Does that excite you to see that that's what this offense is capable of whenever it's at its best?
Definitely. I mean, like, we know what we're capable of. We're at our best. I mean, we've seen flashes of it in games, in practice, fall camp, spring ball, that stuff. But just to see it out there on the field, go up 28-0, chunk plays, everybody executing, guys making plays downfield, running backs making plays around the ball, guys walking on the perimeter, offensive line going to work. I mean, it's great to see, great to be a part of, and also like it just shows like what we have the capability of doing on offense.
So when you had things rolling in that first quarter, what was the discussion on the sideline like in the huddle going out there on offense? Because I got to imagine you guys just feeling it, because it felt like the team equivalent of being in the zone.
I mean, yeah, we're definitely feeling it. I mean, guys just on the sideline saying like, "Let's go, let's keep going, keep putting it on, and all that stuff." I mean, especially when we got to like 14-0, 21-0, then finally got 28-0. I mean, we just kept piling on them.
What about Mr. Stoops? He gets the big catch on the initial possession, which was outstanding, and then to put you guys up 28-0, he gets that other catch in the corner of the end zone. He goes out there with his parents on senior night. We'll see if ultimately that is the last time we see him in the Palace. But how cool was that to see him have so much success on a special night for him and his family?
Definitely. I mean, he deserves it. Just him, how hard he works, how much of a leader he is, how he works at practice, all that stuff. I mean, Drake's a great guy, probably one of my favorite teammates just to be around. I mean, I've been around him we've been in the same position for I'd say like a year and a half now since I switched outside. But I mean, just to be with him, it's great. Awesome. I'm happy to see it for him, especially for big plays downfield. Everyone thinks of him as like a third down guy, short yardage, middle of the route type guy. But just for him to prove that he can do stuff downfield, I mean, that's great for this team. Guys will definitely see that on film and have to respect it.
One of the other receivers, and Jalil had an up and down night, right, with a couple of drops, uncharacteristic drops from him, but he scores a touchdown, right, to get things kind of kicked off, or as things are getting rolling, and he's wide open. Do you ever see that? And you're like, wait, why can't I get that? Why don't they just leave me uncovered? Because there was no one around him.
Yeah, I love when people just like get uncovered and you're just like sitting there like, wow, that must be nice. You know what I mean? Just to come completely wide open. But yeah, I just love watching Jalil. I mean, dude can run the ball, catch the ball. He can do everything Coach Levy asks of him. Yeah, dude really reminds me of like a Debo Samuel type guy. Just plays so aggressive, even blocking in the perimeter.
I like that. I like the Debo Samuel comp. I like that play design, like fake the bubble, just run him up the wheel. No one accounted for him whatsoever, and it was a walk in 30-yard touchdown. So from there, like I know you kind of mentioned it, not executing penalties. How do you guys prevent that from happening? I'll take it a little bit further. What can you guys do this, as we move forward for the rest of the season, knowing that you're going to have at least, 2 games left, third down, and that was an area that you guys have been good at. Go back to Baylor, you're 10 of 15 on third down. Morgantown, you're 1 for 11, 1 for 14 in this game, 2 for your last 25. What can you guys do to be better on third down here to close out this season?
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say it. Just like we just never clicked really on third downs. I mean, it's just terrible third down percentage. The rest of the season just comes down to game planning, play calling, executing on third down. I mean, that's all it is. We just got to stay on the field longer. I mean, we know that Coach Levy harps on it, Coach Venables harp on it from both sides. Defense and offense about third downs. I mean, there's a huge emphasis on third downs in this program and this culture. We just got to go out there and execute on third downs and just find a way to stay on the field. Third and fourth downs. The same.
What were the discussions like, kind of in that second through the fourth quarter? Were you guys just like, what's going on? Like, especially with the hot start you had, were you guys as confused as we were?
I said there's like a little bit of confusion, and then like other like the talks and stuff. Like, all right, let's get back on, let's get back rolling and stuff like that. That never happened, but the biggest thing for us, especially towards the end of the game, was just trying to stay on the field. Run the timeout, all that stuff, run the ball down their throats. I mean, they knew what was coming. We just had to execute. But I mean, as far as talks on the sideline and huddles and stuff goes, I mean, it was just basically, let's get back rolling, let's get back to dominating how we did earlier in this game.
What about the weather? I went down there pregame. It was a pretty good chill in the air. I wasn't feeling it as much in the booth as I'm sure you guys were on the field. How cold was it on Saturday night?
Honestly, I didn't really mind the weather until maybe like middle of the third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. But even that, it wasn't that cold. I definitely thought the weather was 10 times worse in Morgantown.
It was. It definitely that weather in Morgantown was the worst weather I've ever been a part of in a football game. It was miserable. Now, one thing that stood out to me, and you've played a lot of home games now in Norman, I thought the atmosphere was really good, and it being at night had something to do with that. But like the music, the lights, like everything they did in game, I thought it's the best it's been in a long, long time, Marvin.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Bedlam's kind of been kind of funny for me. So 2020 was my freshman year. I guess it was 40% capacity in stadiums and stuff like that. Then we played Bedlam, and it looks like it's about 70%. So that's like the most I've seen ever. And as far as like my freshman eyes in college, and then we go to Stillwater, and that place is always electric, especially a night game last year. And then Norman, I mean, our fans definitely like showed out this past Saturday. I mean, it was definitely electric, probably the loudest I've heard it be ever. Probably the loudest home game I've ever had, honestly. I mean, it was definitely special. It's definitely different.
I guess that's a new thing with the lights and everything at night. Cause I know you guys have had a couple night games this year, but I hadn't been to one. So that was pretty cool. I had not seen that yet. That was awesome with the lights and the fans with, I guess they're put up their phones or whatever. That was, that's a pretty cool new tradition for night games in Oklahoma. That's special, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really nice to be a part of. Sometimes it still catches me like off guard just because it's so new. I think maybe we had Kent State and then we had Kansas State. So it's the third time we've had like the light show and stuff like that. So it always like catches you off guard the first time they do it or whenever they do it later in the game.
Especially at the start, they turned like all the lights out, and I was like, wait, oh no. Like for the intro video, I was like, the power's gone out. But it was cool, man. I thought it was really well done, and they're going to continue to kind of fine tune some things and make it even better. Now, while the defense has struggled throughout the season. Man, did they play well in this football game. How cool was it for you guys offensively to see the defense have that type of performance?
I mean, it was great, just in the first quarter, they set us up real good in field position. The whole first half, they set us up really good in field position. Sometimes we were able to score off of it. Sometimes we weren't. But just to see the energy they're playing with, the turnovers they're creating. I mean, they basically, they won the game for us, especially in that second half. I mean, they kept stopping the offense. It's very uncharacteristic Oklahoma State's offense, but they kept stopping them, making them force bad decisions, all that stuff, making them do uncharacteristic things. And it was just great for us. It kept the fans and the energy up in the stadium. Just kept giving the offense more hope.
They were tremendous. So was Michael Turk. I mean, on a night where you needed a good punter, unfortunately, he was called upon 8 times in the second half. How good is that dude? I mean, he had a couple that were just like, whoa, that was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, Turk's great. I mean, just talking about like flipping the field, all that stuff. I mean, it was great for us. We definitely needed it, this game, and he definitely showed out.
Were you involved in the proposal? I saw the video on social media. I know you hang out with those special teams guys, your inner kicker. Right. Were you involved in the plan at all?
I wasn't there. I saw I was probably like on the hashes taking pictures of people, and then I heard like the yelling and stuff like that. But Turk did, like, our lockers are right next to each other. He did say something to me about it like before the game.
Yeah, well, very special night for Turk, not only punting the ball, but newly engaged young man. So we congratulate the young couple. On to Lubbock. Great win. They're all great when you get a victory, especially against your in-state rival. Become bowl eligible, that's great. But you want to keep this momentum going. And it's a good Texas Tech team, man. They're 6-win team as well. They would love nothing more than to finish off their regular season with a win against you guys. We all know how daunting and tough it can be to play in Lubbock, Texas early in the week, but have you had a chance to check out Texas Tech on film yet? Are you still kind of working through that process before you start to turn the page to them?
Yeah, we're still working through the process before we start to turn the page with them as far as, coaches getting us information and stuff. But, definitely just watching them play throughout the season. I mean, they beat Texas at home. Night game in Lubbock's a big deal, no matter who you are. And then also, like, we're Oklahoma. So we're going to get their best. They're going to want to beat us for sure. But, it's a really good team, really good offense, fast-paced, explosive offense. Defense is really hard-nosed, tough, and aggressive. So we're just going to have to bring our A game out there and love it next Saturday night.
I will say their star player on defense broke his foot, so he's not playing. So, which is unfortunate, but because Tyree Wilson, he's a heck of a football player, but they will not have their best pass rusher player overall. So that's certainly good for you guys. Well, it's not very good for the Red Raiders. Now, I know that you're focused on getting ready for Tech, and then you'll focus on the bowl game and all that stuff. But at what point do you make a decision about next year, right? At what point do you sit down and say, okay, what are the options? And then kind of weigh those options and make a decision.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say maybe before the bowl game, I might sit down, weigh out those options, and decide what I want to do. If not then definitely after the bowl game. But as far as right now, I haven't looked anything over, talked about it at all. So right now it's still up in the air.
Is that, I'm guessing, obviously your dad, somebody you sit down and help make that decision, talk with the coaches, just get as much opinions, advice as you possibly can? Because obviously, I mean, that's a very important decision, but you got like a circle of people that you'll kind of lean on to help you with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll talk to my family about it. First and foremost, I'll talk to the coaches, get all the information with them, and then there'll be a big meeting between them. Coaches and my family will all talk about it, and then me and my family talk about it, and just, weigh out the options, pluses and minuses, and just see what's better for me.
Awesome, man. Well,
a nice pros cons list.
Yeah.
I make those on a daily basis. Decision of that magnitude, a little bit more important than my daily regimen. But regardless of what you do, man, best of luck closing out the season, and best of luck as you guys work through that decision. All right, let's get to some fans' questions. Fan questions brought to you by Love's Travel Stops. Visit loves.com for more information on the nation's leading travel stop network that's headquartered right here in the great state of Oklahoma. Ryan H. asks, what is your favorite play of the season so far?
Ooh, that's a really great question. Honestly, I'd probably have to go with the reverse to Gavin Freeman. That might be one of my favorite.
Wow. I did
The
not see
opener?
that coming.
The
Yeah,
opener?
yeah, an opener. Probably one of my
Yeah.
favorite plays. Just because his explosiveness and stuff, how young he is. We've seen it in practice and do some freaky stuff for him to go out there. First opportunity he gets for him to be ready and just make a play like that. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's probably has to be one of my favorite plays of the season by far. Yeah, that has to be it. And just thinking back on it, that has to be it.
That is a great way to start your Oklahoma Sooner career. And like his story, dad having played here, local kid who walks on and bam, first opportunity takes it to the crib. I like that. I like where you went there. I didn't think that's where you were going to go, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, great. This is a great play all around.
It's a great spin. Great spin. Okay, this last one comes from Tammy S. And she asks, what is your biggest passion off the field right now? And do you have any new hobbies or passions?
Honestly, I probably don't have one. I mean,
I love that answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll dive into my Bible every day. Go to church on Sundays, no matter what time we get back or the game is and all that stuff. But when I'm at home, I mostly just like to chill, watch movies, something like that. So I love going to the movies. Now I just don't have as much time to do it. But other than that, I mean, I guess I'm like a pretty boring guy. I just like to kick back and relax when I'm home. Just chill.
I'm a movie guy too, man. And I'm boring about that. That's all good. I like that. Do you find yourself still trying to go to the movies, or since you can stream stuff and you can get a lot of movies in the theaters, just stream it? Is that more of your go-to now? Because I feel like I don't go to the theater nearly as much as I used to. It just like seems to never happen for me anymore.
Yeah, I'll try to go to theaters like much as I can. Like if I have time, I'll definitely go, just because I like the movie theater popcorn and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely like trying to break down the schedule this week. Just with there being less school and stuff like that for Thanksgiving, I'm trying to break down the schedule and go see a movie this week for sure.
Is real quick? Is there anything better than when you open that door to a movie theater and that aroma of popcorn just like hits you right in the face, dude? It's the best.
And now they have those movie theaters where you can eat like full meals.
Correct.
And drink, which is great.
It's gotten a little bit out of control. Absolutely, man. Well, thanks so much, man. It's been a great year. It's been so much fun to have you throughout the course of this season. Obviously, we got a much more time moving forward, but congratulations on the win. Best of luck this week, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, man. We all got a lot to be thankful for.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys too.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Marvin for joining us. And now it's time for me and my man Gabe to break it down. The breakdown brought to you by the Oklahoma Proton Center. It's one of the top cancer centers in the region using state-of-the-art proton therapy. Oklahoma Proton Center, more than a cure, quality of life. 28-13, Sooners win. Weird. That's just the best way I can describe the 117th version of Bedlam. And as Coach Venables mentioned to us multiple times, maybe the last Bedlam we see, even if Oklahoma stays in the conference the next 2 years, this game is not guaranteed. You would hope that the conference makes sure that it happens, but could be the last Bedlam.
It'll happen.
I hope you're right. I can just tell you that some people we talked to did not feel nearly as confident. So regardless, we had that one did happen, and a nice win for the Sooners, 28-13.
Yeah, it was just a bizarre game, especially offensively for Oklahoma. I mean, that offense was great and humming early, and then just kind of fell off a cliff. It was so strange to watch, and especially, I mean, you've got a big lead. There's just some odd things late in that football game. They were still using tempo, going fast, not using the play clock. It was bizarre. OU's offense had 6 3-and-outs to finish the football game.
What's even more bizarre about that, you've got a 2- and 3-score lead over that span, and they didn't have a single one of those drives over a minute 30. So think about that.
That's not what you're going for when you got a big lead. Let me tell you, you're trying to run the ball, use some clock, really establish your dominance.
Limit possessions. Like, it becomes a mathematical equation at some point. Like, if there's not enough time for them to possess the football, they can't win. I know this. That's who they are. That's what they do. It's built into the offense. I was throwing some numbers, something like, when they snap the ball before 25 seconds, they average like 8.2 yards a play. I was told when they snap it later than that, it's like goes down to 5.4 a play. So I know that they believe that just they're a way more efficient offense when they go at that tempo. And that's probably true, and that's fair. And who am I to tell anyone how to do their job? I would just say this: situational football is real. And I would like to think moving forward, you look at that, you learn from that, and you say, okay, when we get in those spots, maybe we should take a long, hard look at not snapping the ball before 5 seconds and doing whatever we possibly can to chew up clock. Because it's not like you're being very efficient snapping it fast. But what you were doing was opening the door for Oklahoma State to come back and potentially win that game. If Deshaun White doesn't pick that pass off, and it was a bad throw by Spencer Sanders, it's a one-score game with 6 minutes to go. I mean, we'll get into some of that later, but yes, offensively, don't you think you've got to be able to have something in place that when you're in those spots, you can chew up some more clock?
You got to be able to do both.
Yeah.
That's, you talk about good offenses, great offenses. It comes down to execution, man. You shouldn't only be able to execute at a high level when you're playing with tempo.
Correct.
You got to be able to execute at any pace, right? You got to be able to execute when the defense has a really good understanding of what's likely coming.
Yep.
Right. Especially when you're talking about running the football. That's why you hear coaches talk about the execution piece of, so often, is because, sometimes the defense knows you're going to run it, but you still got to be able to run it in the third and fourth quarter when you got a big lead. And that's something that, this team has not been in that situation a lot this season. So I'm not surprised that it was a struggle at times, but for them to go for that extended stretch of 3 quarters and not be able to produce offensively, it was so confusing after watching the first quarter. I mean, I couldn't they couldn't stay on the field, couldn't convert a third down. It was, I didn't even know what to think, man, after watching what it can look like in that first quarter and then watching how bad it could look for 3 quarters. It was something. I don't even know. It was something.
It was bad. It was the best it could look, and it was the worst it could look, all wrapped into one, which is what I said in the onset is just such a weird game. I thought they may put up 1,000 yards of offense after the first quarter. I thought it could be one of those 70-point type of nights, and they didn't score another point the rest of the evening. Look, it really does go back to execution. They didn't execute. There was missed assignments, there was drop balls, there was turnovers. Braden Willis doesn't put the ball on the ground. I mean, it's a nice play by Muhammad putting his shoulder on it, but he's got the ball in his inside hand. You got to put the ball in your outside hand. Small little things just really added up for them, and they continued to make a lot of mental mistakes. Motions when they were supposed to motion that weren't happening, just different routes by receivers or running backs built into plays that were called. It was on everybody. And then I think clearly to me as well, you've got to still be able to find a way to burn clock. Even if you're not getting first downs, to milk that baby, utilize it. I thought everybody really contributed to some of the deficiencies, and it's just a lackluster second half. The second quarter, they still moved the ball. They just turned it over twice. But the second half, 8 punts. I mean, you mentioned the 6 3-and-outs to end it, but 8 punts in one half of football, that's mathematically almost should be impossible to even do. Yet
would they have 19 possessions?
Oh, yeah.
19 possessions and you only score 28 points. That's
Well, on the flip side of that, how many possessions?
Talking about math of it.
How many possessions? I mean, it's similar for Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ran 102 plays, which let's transition to the defense because had to be the signature performance for the Oklahoma defense on the season. And, Spencer Sanders was off. He didn't have his A game, but Oklahoma defensively, they were incredible. The defensive line, I thought by far their best game of the season, by far. And Oklahoma State's offensive line was healthy in this game, but I thought they overwhelmed them up front. 6 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. Jordan Kelly was great. Isaiah Coe was really good. I thought Ethan Downs was very active. Jalen Redmond had that big sack late on a 2nd 10, forcing 3rd and 22. Get the 4 takeaways. Guys were flying around. They ran a lot of zone blitzes. Jonah Laulu, I mean, he had a Bedlam to remember, to say the least.
He's got to score. He's got to score on that return, man. I know that hurt. I know that hurt you that he didn't get in the end zone.
It would have been cool to see him get in, but I mean, I just thought the fact that, dropping that zone coverage for the ball to pop up after the Woody deflection, just to be there, man, he's in the right spot. And when you're in the right spot, good things happen. And it just felt like they were in the right spot all night, whether it was zone drops, when they bring the corner off the edge from the boundary and Billy gets over the top. I mean, how rangy did he look on that one? And, again, it's on Spencer. Spencer Sanders doesn't see the blitz coming, doesn't know where his hot's at, misses it by about a beat, gives Billy Bowman with the athleticism the chance to come over the top, makes a huge play. The last 2 games, I felt like the defense hasn't been able to close out the game and get the stops they needed to. I don't put the loss on them against West Virginia, but they could have gotten key stops late. They got stops early and late in this ball game, and it was the most complete game I've seen this Sooners defense play. So I thought that alone was awesome to watch. It was, especially on a night when you got a lot of defensive recruits in the house, I thought it was important. And I think it's just important in general that we start to see this defense come together, figure it out, and play better ball down the stretch. And when you look at really, especially the first 3 quarters in Morgantown and what they were able to do in this game, it sure feels like as the season's coming to a close, the defense is finally starting to look like the way you'd want them to look.
Yeah, it felt like a performance that next season we'll be able to look back and say, hey, that's when this thing started really getting going. Yep. Right? That's when things started to shift defensively under Brent Venables. And those guys were, that defense was awesome. And it was a perfect example of why you always hear players and coaches talk about making a team one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma State could not run the ball to save their lives other than Spencer Sanders, getting out and scrambling a little bit, right? And he's an athletic guy. That stuff's going to happen when you've got an athlete of his caliber at the quarterback position. But traditional run game, they had absolutely no answers. Oklahoma's defensive line beat them up front. That was a whooping.
Yep.
And as a result of that, put them in predictable situations, confused the veteran quarterback who I think's been seeing it really well this year. Yep. From a coverage standpoint, he was confused back there. I thought they did a really nice job of disguising and confusing Spencer Sanders most of the night. And yeah, that was as good as it's been. And I'll say this, it was a lot of fun to watch. But hope they keep doing that moving forward because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope that's a taste of what the future holds. They're going to need that this week in Lubbock. It's a good Texas Tech team, and we'll get more into Texas Tech throughout the course of the week. But the offense was amazing for a quarter, as bad as you'll see them in the second half. But the defense, I think that's important to say the defense won this game. And that's exactly, to me, what happened. The defense won Bedlam 117 for the Oklahoma Sooners. And the Sooners take the What do they I know it's a bell. It's a crystal bell. Does it have a name?
Well, now the trophy. It's a bad trophy. I love Bedlam. I want this rivalry to continue for eternity. They changed the trophy. The crystal thing is gone. Now it's just like this. It's just the state of Oklahoma like put on a trophy. It's not a good look, man. It's they got to change it back. It's
not the crystal bell anymore.
No,
Oh.
no.
Okay.
That was way cooler than what they've gone with. It's literally just like a metal outline of the state of Oklahoma. You'll be disappointed when you see it.
Well, Coach Venables told us in the production meeting Friday, it's the state championship. So the state champions for Oklahoma college football this year.
Well, the Oklahoma State championships are awesome because they're golden balls. They're sweet. It's way better than the Bedlam Trophy.
Well, all I know is this: the head coach at Oklahoma, he framed it as this was a state championship. The Oklahoma Sooners, at least for now, the state championship resides in Norman, Oklahoma. 28-13 win over Oklahoma State on Saturday night. Big thanks to Muse Growth Strategies for continuing to help us spread the word about strengthening Oklahoma. Reminder to subscribe to our podcast page there at YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. We would much appreciate it. Check out our website, strengtheningok.com. You can contribute and help out these great athletes, a part of Strengthening Oklahoma. As always, we thank you all for listening, for subscribing. We appreciate you. We'll see you again next time right here on Strengthening Oklahoma.